I was gonna put a blazer on because I was like, I'm talking to a politician. Like, I can't be just in my hoodie that I've been in for 5 days, 12 days, 18 days.
No, it's okay.
Here we are.
There are no.
I don't know enough about this bill to be able to like talk about it or what it is. So obviously one of the architects of it, we want to get you in here. Let's just start with the basics. Like what is a stimulus package? Like why do we need it? But like particularly this one, like what is it?
So obviously we're facing a crisis right now, but it's two crises really at the same time. The first one is that it's the public health crisis of the actual coronavirus, but obviously it's also an economic crisis because the virus is so contagious. We're shutting down entire cities from regular business, and that means that millions of people are out of work. The first thing that's in this bill that was passed yesterday is that there is going to be direct cash assistance to the majority of people in this country. That cash assistance, if you make less than $75,000, you will be getting a $1,200 check.
How do you get that? Like, how literally do you get that? Is it just coming to you automatically? Do you have to sign up for it? Is it coming direct? I've heard like you can only get it if you have direct deposit.
When you file your taxes, especially if you file it online or if you do TurboTax or however you file your taxes, if you have direct deposit set up with the IRS, like when you get your tax refund check, if the IRS just wires it to you, you will get your check earlier than if they have to mail you a check. But if you don't have direct deposit, you will still get a check. It'll just take a little bit more time.
Is there any sort of provision or protections in for like a student visa or work visa and like undocumented workers, which frankly I think have probably been totally left out of the conversation, but which are, you know, the major gears of this economy and of our society that, you know, people just want to pretend like they aren't, but I'm like, it can't go on without those people. So is there any protections or anything in there for them, or how is that working?
So like, again, I've been talking about a lot of the drawbacks in this bill. Literally what we were told from the Republicans, what I've been told in the negotiations with Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump and like all of these folks, is that they said anything for immigrants is a non-starter.
Right,
undocumented immigrants pay taxes. We pay, undocumented people pay like to the tune of $14 billion in taxes. And that means that undocumented people who are making our food, cooking in restaurants, stocking our stores, they pay more in taxes than Facebook does, than Amazon does, than a lot of big banks and GM does. And so, frankly, we're using public money to fund a lot of these corporations that aren't paying into this pot, and we're cutting out people who are paying into this system.
There's a lot of college students that are still claimed by their parents, but they're out of the age range to be, you know, considered kids, but they're not able to get the money. Where do they fall in all of this for their parents and for themselves?
So this is a really important conversation for folks to have in their families, especially if your parents have not filed their 2019 yet. If you are claimed as a dependent, there's no money, period. Like, it's a messed up loophole. It's really, really messed up. But if in 2018, if you are claimed as a dependent and you are above 16, there's nothing. So my advice would be, if you haven't filed 2019 yet, talk to your parents and sort that out, because there's a way that you could file it where everyone can get $1,200 who's eligible, and then there's a way that you could file it where you don't get it.
Another big one coming in, student loans. What is happening with student loans? Is there relief for that? Is there relief in the stimulus package for that, or is that kind of something separate that's happening right now?
So thankfully, there is relief in the stimulus package on student loans. Hallelujah, because this is like as big as a mortgage payment for a lot of people. But for now, good news is that in the stimulus package, federal student loans, which is the vast majority of student loans, federal student loan payments are suspended until September. So you do not need to pay your student loans until September.
A lot of people are like, well, we can't just like give people money all the time. Like we can't afford it. But like we can afford it. We can afford healthcare. We can afford insurance. We can afford to like give people a living wage. We can afford childcare. We can afford all of these things. So like it's just a choice. I really hope people are seeing this as like a reckoning of like when the money needed to be there, it was there. And like we have it.
Exactly. It's not about
we just gotta choose where we want to put it.
Money. Exactly. It's not that there's not enough money. It's that there's not enough political will. It's that there's not enough people who give a damn about working families enough to treat them on and prioritize them and prioritize us on the same level as as their wealthy donors. And that's ultimately our huge problem.